Mary Ann, yay. Everybody's here. Barbara, hello.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh, this is
goodness,
the
we're having a
best.
good group. Cynthia, Mary, Deb,
Millie's here.
Millie, there you are.
Yeah,
Hi,
Kimberly,
Mary.
ladies.
welcome. Angela, who?
Marianne.
Linda, let's see, Claire. Hi, Claire. Darlene,
Julie,
Donna.
Gloria. Jen's.
I hope we can say all the
Oh,
names.
Susan's here.
Who's here?
Susan.
Oh, Suzanne. Oh, hi. You're here.
Hi, guys. I don't want you to see
Gloria.
my face because it's been a very long day.
Oh,
It's a beautiful face. It's a beautiful face.
Hi.
Judith is here.
So glad everybody's here.
Suzanne. Oh, this is wonderful.
So
Thank you
people are
all for being
still
here
coming
on a
in.
Sunday evening. We're so glad you're here. And you guys, you know the drill. Those of you that have been in these events before, we love seeing where everybody is at, where they're zooming in from. So if you want to, hop on the chat, and while everybody's coming on, say where you're from.
Idea.
Sandy, oh my goodness, Ontario, Canada. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Chicago,
oh my gosh, I love how they come flooding in.
Rochester.
Minneapolis here.
Oh, goodness.
Texas here.
North Carolina.
Florida, Pennsylvania.
We are all over.
Jersey.
Millie,
That's Millie.
Jersey.
Yeah, that's Millie.
Millie, I didn't know
My
you were a
husband-
Jersey girl.
I don't think, Millie, I ever told you that my husband's from New Jersey.
Oh,
West
wow.
Orange.
Where? What
West
part?
Orange.
Ah,
Orange.
nice.
Yeah.
And I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, you
Where?
were?
Yeah,
Oh.
so I'm a Jersey girl by heart. But I moved there when I was 3, so I don't really remember. But I've been I visited
Cheryl from
family.
sunny Florida.
Cheryl's in Florida.
Nice.
So we have a good group today. So far we have 32, but we had a lot sign up. So I know more people are coming in. And some of you, I
Yeah,
hope you
Cindy
all
coming in.
know that you get a replay in your email the next day. And if you miss it, be sure and look in your junk mail because it's there.
Good.
Brittany sends the recording out. So if you don't get a chance to stay on, or you do another broadcast where you didn't get to see the whole thing, the recording will come in your email. And you can always email us if you don't get it. So
Of course.
make sure that you get it. Yeah.
And Nicole sends her greetings. The poor thing is under the weather. And we told her to stay home. She wanted to be here, and we're like, no, stay home. We're all home, but you know what I mean? Like, get back in bed. Don't worry about us. But she was sad to not be here. And then Brittany's in the middle of a tornado warning.
What?
And she popped on, and she was completely in the dark, just her little face.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, you guys have to run it. We're like, so, and then Amber so graciously offered to help us out too with this. So we're in good hands. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So where does Brittany live? Where is Brittany again? I always think she's in California, but I want to say she's West. Is she in West Virginia?
I think she's on the East Coast.
Or North Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, that's where it is. I think she's in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're right. North Carolina.
Crazy. I hope everything's going to be okay over there. But anyway, so we should probably get this party started. I don't know about you, Sandy, but this feels like a holiday party to me.
It is. And I see you have your Christmas tree in the background.
Well, oh yeah, that's my we have I think 3 trees in the house. This is one of my little trees.
Fabulous.
And it's hard to tell, but these little festive lights are on. And I wore my ugly Christmas sweater.
You got the ugly sweater. And I had to wear my brand new red velvet jacket because I bought it for this season and I just wore it last week. And I thought there's only one more time that I get to wear it. And that's tonight.
I love it.
Else is casual from this point on. So I'm wearing my brand new velvet jacket.
And it's gorgeous, darling. It looks great.
Thank you.
I want to hear from everybody. So who has a holiday or Christmas sweater that they wear? Who has a dorky Christmas sweater, holiday sweater that they wear? You guys can chat it in. I don't, says Cynthia. I just think it's so funny.
I don't either.
For people to have just a dorky thing that they wear out and they don't care that they're totally silly. Claire says she has a couple of them. I love that.
Oh, great.
7. Nicole in Portland says she has 7 of them. That is
Wow. That's
one
funny.
has gnomes on the front. Oh,
Oh.
it's so great. They're so fun. Well, thank you again. We want to thank you for being here. We're really, really excited about this. I don't know how many of you out there, unfortunately, I can't see you all, but attended this last year. So we started last year. I did this event, Finding Your Word of the Year, but I'm extra excited because we're adding the special sauce that is Sandy this year. She's going to kick it all up a notch. Oh, thank you, Donna. Donna said I did. It was great. Oh, this is so great. And some of you have maybe heard of the Word of the Year process, or some people have said they already have their Word of the Year, which is great. And I'm really glad if you even have your word that you're here, because I think it's a good idea to revisit some of these different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to talk about the why a word of the year versus New Year's resolutions. And we're going to go through this worksheet. Now, this worksheet was added into the registration for you to print up. If for some reason you weren't able to print it up, don't worry about it, because my whole plan with this is we're going to talk through it, but I actually don't necessarily want you to fill it out right now. So we'll talk more about that later. Cheryl said she wasn't part of the community last year. So yay, so glad you're here now. So we're going to go through that. And then Sandy's going to talk about, give us some great ideas on how to take this word onto the next level with great journaling ideas and prompts and things like that.
Superpowers.
And superpowers.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
See, I don't know about this. I'm so
Yes.
excited. This is going to be amazing. And then we'll have some time after we're done talking about our things. We want to hear from you. We want to hear if you've picked your word, if you've got a word you're kind of thinking about, and any questions you may have about it, or any questions for Sandy that you may have. So this is just going to be so much fun. And hopefully, we love to gab, and we want to make sure and get all your questions in. So we may end up going a little over time. Hopefully, you can stay as long as you can. Don't feel bad, because like Sandy mentioned, this will be recorded. So you can always watch if you have to hop out. And just if you want to try to remember something or you miss it, you can watch it. So I guess we'll start with introductions. So both Sandy and I are actually the trusted Prairians, a couple of trusted Prairians from Modern Prairie. I had the section called Continue the Conversation on the app. I am an author and also a certified life coach. But to be honest, lately I've sort of felt like I kind of like to introduce myself more as a transformation coach, because what really lights me up, what I love to do, is work with women through transitions that they're going through and help them sort of discover or rediscover what lights them up, what gets them all excited. What is your call of the wild? What is something that, I feel like during this time, especially for us, our midlife women, we're, maybe sending kids out of the nest, the little birdies out of the nest. We're maybe retiring or getting ready to retire. We're going through menopause, which, hello, that's like a whole different thing. It's just, no matter where you're at, this is a transitional time for us in so many ways. And it's also kind of a permission to look at ourselves and think about ourselves and focus on ourselves. And sometimes you can be in a place where you're like, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know where I want to go or what I want to do with myself. That's what I geek out about and I get so excited about. So that's pretty much who I am. And I do that not so much one-on-one, but more doing collective things like this, and through writing and through some other fun creative modes. And we'll be talking more about how that's going to continue on and continue the conversation later. But for now, I want to let Sandy introduce herself.
There, I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone. I've just had the best week. First of all, I'm Sandy Peckinpah, and I have been a part of Modern Prairie since the beginning, but also I feel like I've been a part of it before it was ever born because Melissa and I are best friends, and we've been best friends for over 30 years. My goodness, we've lived a lot of life together. And one thing that I love about Melissa is that um, she created this community with a sense of love and appreciation for all of you, all her fans over the years, and all of the things that she stands for as a person who learned so much from growing up on Little House on the Prairie, the values that Michael Landon wrote into the shows weekly, the people, the characters, they all became a part of Melissa. So what I can tell you is that whenever Melissa and I are together, wherever we go, people love her. Wherever we go, people come up to her, and I can tell you she is always so incredibly gracious. So I am also a writer, and I have written several books, and my last one, Melissa wrote the foreword for, and I'm so grateful. And that was about my experience losing my beloved son at just 16. Melissa was very much a part of that experience and held me up when I couldn't hold myself up. And so then she also wrote the foreword, which gave me the gift of something that I could put out in the world and be so proud of and have her be a part of it. So this week, though, I was a part, once again, I've been to every surgery she's had practically. I was going to share my screen and show you that this is where we were this week. Let me see. There you go. That's where we were this week at the hospital, where she had a nerve block, and we were supposed to go to we were going to the Ivy, our favorite place for lunch in Los Angeles, and she called in the morning and said, guess what? I've got to go to see Dr. Bray, and he's got to give me a nerve block because she's had ongoing problems with her neck. And let me tell you, that smile on her face is real because it worked. So she's doing great. And literally she's done, let's see, what time do we get done? About 2:30. And by 6 o'clock, she looked like this. And there she is. I took that picture of her with her mom, and she was dressed up in sequins, gorgeous and healthy and out of pain. So that was a pretty wonderful experience. And that's where I wore my jacket, because Barbara, her mother, had 20 incredible women for dinner at her home. And these are women that are icons for me growing up. And I thought, how fortunate am I to be able to listen to women of experience. And that's what Modern Prairie is that all of you, oh, I'm so glad you're here, Lillian, by the way. All of you are here with us because we've all lived a lot of life. We've all had such great experiences in life, some that are tougher than anything to go through. And yet here you are. Here you are, still wanting to learn, still wanting to be invested in life, still seeking camaraderie in this crazy part of our life that is this second act. And I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this. And Amber and I do Heart to Heart Tuesdays, every other Tuesday. We're going to be back in January. We would love it if you would be a part of it and continue to talk about those hard conversations, and also those really welcomed conversations about, now what? What's this part of our life? What is it about? And so I want to hand this back to Susie, because she's going to be talking about the word of the year, and then I'm going to be adding to it my take on how we can invest superpowers into the project. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. It was fun to see those pictures. And again, amazing. I loved the difference of like where she was in the morning to where she was, but she still looked as radiant in both pictures, you know?
Yes,
That's so
absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely.
You know, for us all to look like that in our hospital gown. How
I
lovely. All right. So we're going to talk about the word. This is something that I've been doing a while, working on this concept. And I didn't come up with it. I mean, I read about this years ago, and it just really struck me as such an incredible way to look forward to who we want to be in this coming year. Because let's face it, this is what we think about. I mean, honestly, you can think of a word of the year any time of year. It doesn't have to be just for New Year. But obviously, that's the time that we really do kind of look back at our lives of our last year, and then we look ahead. What do we want to do? What do we want to be? How do we want to go into this new year? And I'll tell you right now, I hate New Year's resolutions. I know that sounds, kind of harsh. It's a harsh word, but I gotta say, from my experience, from experience I've heard of others, I feel like a lot of New Year's resolutions just kind of set you up to fail because there's something that just kind of pops into your head. It's something that you maybe think you might want to do next year, and you have great intentions. And believe me, I'm a coach. I know that setting goals is a very important thing for all of us to have. It's just that with a resolution, sometimes it's a very surface goal. It's not something that you're really spending a lot of time thinking about. Is this resolution really something that's right for me? I mean, one quick example would be, let's say you have a friend who goes to the gym 3 days a week, and you're like, I should really do that. That would be something that would be really good for me. I need to get out. I need to move. I'm going to have this New Year's resolution. I'm going to hit the gym 3 times a week. So great. You join a gym. You start going 3 times a week. And then you start realizing, I hate the gym. I spent all this money and it's not really what I love to do. And so all of a sudden you're not going, 2 months in, and then you feel like a big failure. Well, really, maybe what you like to do is dance around your house to get yourself moving. Maybe you like to go for a walk every day. Maybe you want to sign up for ski lessons because that's something you want to do to get yourself moving and going. And really, the gym is somebody else's idea of what they want to do, but not yours. So that is part of, I hate the gym, says Cynthia. So that is part of the idea of why a word is more important or more powerful, I should say, than a resolution. So the main difference is when we think about a word that we want to kind of use as a touchstone for ourselves throughout the year, we're asking ourselves, how do I want to feel? It's not what do I want to do? It's how I want to feel. Because when you can think about how you want to feel and you really hone in on what that is, and you, again, like I said, you use that as a touchstone for all of the different areas of your life, all the different things you're doing in your life. What's amazing about that is that the goals that you want kind of magically just come along with that. And it is so much more powerful because it comes from a real place that you want to be. So the idea with that is maybe, next year you want to feel strong. Well, again, you don't have to go to the gym to feel strong. There are other things you can do to get that same feeling or get that same goal without just feeling like you have to do what everybody else does, or even a message you have gotten from someone else a long time ago that you should be doing when it doesn't really feel like who you are anymore. Because we change too, right? Maybe you loved the gym in your 20s and now you just don't anymore, and that's okay. So this is really what the word is all about. And I feel like it's just going to be so much more powerful for you all. So okay, the worksheet. I talked about the worksheet, and like I said at the beginning, I'm not doing, if you already filled it out, don't worry about it. Great. That's fine. But the idea of this really is that this is going to be your guideline. Chances are you're going to need more paper. And so this is what we're going to be talking about also with the journaling. But this is just something you can either write on this, or you can just use this as prompts, in your notebook or your journal. So you'll see how, we'll just talk through it and I'll explain to you what I'm thinking with all of this. So the first section here is, how do I want to feel? So that's where you start thinking of yourself and how when you're thinking of the next year and you're going into the next year, what is something that is just calling to you? Have you felt really stressed and you feel like you need to relax? Or, just really thinking, what's funny about this is often I will ask people, how do you want to feel? And the first thing that pops into their head is happy. I want to feel happy. And yes, of course, we all want to feel happy. And I'm not saying that's not a worthy goal or a worthy word. The thing is, happiness is different for everybody. And that's why I created the method that we're going to use with the word, because we're going to get so much deeper than just happy. We're going to figure out for you what your version of happy is. So, for instance, one of the things I was thinking about is, let's say your happiness as you move forward, you've had a lot of things that you can't count on happening in your life. Maybe finances have been up and down. Maybe things have been happening like you would want a home, but you haven't been able to find one. Maybe your kids are just all over the place and you wish that you could help them, or, you're just feeling like this anxious energy. And really, happiness to you is actually feeling security in your life, feeling like everything is kind of going according to plan, and that where your next paycheck is coming from, and where your kids are going to be, and it's just having that secure feeling. So maybe secure is your word, but then as we go through secure, there's a lot of different ways to look at that as well. So I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So for me, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. I don't have my word yet. I'm still working on it. But I wrote down how I want to feel. I want to feel settled, but not stagnant. I still want to grow and I want to expand. But I also want to feel as if I've kind of found a place to land for a bit, because I'm someone who's always doing a million different things. And I always joke and say, I'm on an unexpected journey, partly because I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd and I love that phrase. But I just feel like that's always been who I am, and I've accepted that. But sometimes it is tiring. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes I feel like, it'd be good to just kind of feel a little settled for a bit. But settled didn't feel like a right word for me. And then the first thing that popped into my head was arrived. But arrived feels like the ending for me. It doesn't feel like I'm going to keep changing and keep growing, right? So this is what I'm starting to write in possible words. I wrote arrived. And then I started to think of other words that maybe would be something. And how I did that is I would start to look up the definitions of the word. Because again, it's really interesting how many times you think you know the definition of a word and you look it up, and there's just elements about that definition that are different than what you thought they would be. And it makes you think differently about the word. So that's another way to really hone in, is to look up the definition of the word that you're thinking might be your word. Another thing I love to do, and you'll see another space on the worksheet, is similar words. So getting out a thesaurus, you can, use your old-fashioned thesaurus if you have one on a bookshelf. I love an app called Power Thesaurus. which is, free on the web. And take a word. So for me, I looked up arrived, and it had words, maybe it wasn't arrived. I have so many different words here. Emerged. I think it was emergence. That was a word that I had, like, as I was thinking of different words. Yeah, Merriam-Webster is a great resource. It also, other similar words was development, evolution, materialization. So you see how those words are so different. When we go back to secure, when I looked up secure for different words in a thesaurus, I found safe, established, and confident as 3 other words. Now, don't you think that those are very different than secure? They feel very different, don't they? So this is why once you think you've honed in on a word, start looking up the definition of the word. Start getting out the thesaurus, and it's like peeling away those layers. And once you get to the word that feels where you really want to be, you'll know. You will have that feeling that's like, yes, that's it. So when I first started doing this, or like a few years ago that I can remember, as far back as I can remember, let's face it, folks, I think I was going to have growth, grow be my word. And then it just didn't feel right. And I thought I had a word. And then like a couple months later, I saw the word expand. And I was like, oh, that's the word I want, not just growth. I don't want to just go upward. I want to spread out. I want to expand who I am and expand what I'm doing. And so that felt so right to me. Flourish. That's a great word too. That felt so right for me. And I knew that was the right word. And then last year came, and I was like, I really like expand. I don't know. Maybe I just want to keep that word. And again, there are no rules with all of this. These are all just guidelines. And I could have very easily kept that word and just kept working with expand. But again, I felt like there's got to be a little bit more. Like I'm still feeling like now I want more. So then I got to amplify. And so I went from expand to amplify. And that's like a little more, okay, I've expanded and now I'm kind of telling people about it, right? Like I'm lighting up about it and hopefully lighting other people up. So this is the thought process that I kind of go through when I'm thinking about the word. And the other thing that's really cool about finding your word is that some of these words can mean different things to you depending on, like the word amplify. It can mean being loud, right? So telling people about what I love or what I want to do, or speaking up when I should speak up. But it can also mean being present and being like excitable and being seen. There's a lot of different aspects to that word. And then what you want to do is think about, when you've got your word, you start thinking about how you can apply that, not maybe to just what you want to do, but all the different areas of your life. So if I want to feel amplified, I'm not just going to think about that in what I do for a living, my work or my career, or even, a passion project. I'm going to think, how can I be amplified in my relationship? How can I feel amplified? Like I said, at work, like if you've got, you're just going to job and maybe it's not like a career necessarily, but it's what you need to do right now for money. We're all in that place at different times in our lives. We necessarily love our jobs, but we're doing it. How can you still feel amplified at your work and make sure that you're somehow pulling that in when you're working? With your relationships, how can I feel amplified? How can I amplify my relationship with my spouse or my kids? So you see or my health, that's another thing. How can I amplify my health and make it more of a priority, thinking about what I eat or how much I exercise or whatever that is? So you see how that sort of is that touchstone with all the things that we're doing and the decisions that we're making. So, we get up in the day and we're looking at our to-do list and we're like, you have something you're trying to decide, well, do I want to do that? Do I not want to do that? We're not just talking about, do I want to mop the floor or something? We're talking about decisions or things that you might want to do that day that are important and might, change something in your life. You're like, is that going to make me feel amplified or not? Is going to the gym going to make me feel amplified? Or when I think about it, does it kind of make me go, what really lights me up again is to put on some music and just dance in my house for half an hour. That amplifies me. So that's what I mean about using your word and as this compass, this touchstone that you can check in with all the time. And so getting the feeling, making sure you're in that feeling becomes more of your goal than actually these little tasks and things that you want to do. Because once you're feeling that feeling and in that place, all those other things are just going to fall to where they need to be. And you're always going to be looking at things from a place where you're really at. Again, like I had said before, not ideas that maybe someone else has for you or has expected you to be, or, you grew up thinking, well, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there. Everyone in my family is a doctor, so I just thought I should be a doctor, but you know what? It's not really what I want to do. I've never really loved it. That does not amplify me. And the other thing I want to say about the word, it's also a feeling physically in your body. And this is often what I tell people when I'm working with them about deciding whether something is right for you or not, is don't rely on your thoughts, because unfortunately, 90% of what our thoughts are telling us, 90% of our thoughts are negative. And this is like a physiological part of our brains. We are created that way. It's the whole fight or flight thing. They call it the reptilian brain. And we're automatically, think about how if someone says they're supposed to call you, you go on a date, they say they're going to call you, they don't call. What's your first thought? Oh my God, I was really stupid. They didn't like the way I looked. They didn't like the things I was saying. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't this, I wasn't that. You have no clue why they didn't call. Maybe, oh, God forbid, they got in an accident on the way home and they had to go to the hospital, or they were really busy and they got caught up in something going on in their work and they had to continue with that. Or God forbid, they were like married or in a relationship and they thought, oh my gosh, I should not be doing this. I am not going to call this person. You never know what is going on, but our minds are always going to trick us that it's our fault. It's our thing. And it's a way of protection, which is a great thing, but it goes too far. We haven't evolved enough to know beyond the lizard who is afraid of everything. We're ready for everything to hurt us. We just automatically go there. So what you can rely instead of your head is your body. How does something feel? It's that gut feeling when you know if something's right or it's not right. Paying attention to that. And that's a lot of what this word process is too. When you're thinking of a word, you've got to have that feeling in your body like, yes, this is it. It gets me really excited. It's really motivating. It makes me want to work toward whatever I want to do in this next year. So you'll see we've gone through most of the spaces on the worksheet, just, brainstorming possible words that you're thinking about, looking up their definitions and seeing if it fits what you're thinking, looking up similar words. And this is where I'm saying, if you already have a word, that's fantastic. And again, you may very well have thought of it right away. It's exactly your word and great. But for fun, look up bring it to the thesaurus and see if there are any other words that maybe even dig in just a little bit deeper, or look up the definition and make sure everything is on track with that. And then I have a space here for your intentions. So as you're thinking about your word and what you want to do, How do you want to use that word? How, when you're thinking about it now and you're going forward, if your word is secure or your word is amplify or flourish or whatever the fabulous word you have, start thinking about the next year and how you're going to bring that into the things that you know are coming up for you in 2024. Again, as you start go back to work, as you look at whatever you're doing, think about your word and be like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling really secure in my job right now. What can I do to my intention to bring security into where I'm working right now is to what? Maybe start reaching out to friends and be like, I don't know if I'm feeling that secure in my job. Can I call you if I need some help finding something? Or, maybe preparing for other things that you can maybe fall back on if something happens, or really deciding now is the time that I am going to start looking for something else. I've been comfortable for too long, but I don't feel secure here. It's time for me to start looking for something else. So write down some intentions that maybe you can think about now, and you're not going to know what they all are now. We haven't even come to our new year yet, but this is a work in progress, right? And this is where we're going to bring Sandy in to talk about this work in progress. And, Sandy, if you don't mind, I was going to wait till the end of both of us and ask if anybody has questions, but I do think I want to take a break right now. I see a bunch of stuff popping up on the chat that I haven't had a chance to really look at, and just see if anybody has some immediate questions with this right now. Why am I not seeing the chat? Let's see.
You click on the 3 dots, the more.
Yep, there it is. Okay. Amber, have you seen any specific questions come with this? I'm going to scroll through it. And
It's been
course,
more of where to find the worksheet, which I'm
where to find the worksheet.
I'm trying to figure out how to add it to the chat on here. So give me a second.
I'm
not Brittany.
I know, without Brittany. I might, but I don't know where she's got. I would say I might be able to do that. I do know for sure that when you registered, and you got the email that says you're registered and this is where you can join the call, on that email, there was a PDF that you could click and download it and then print it up. So it should be there. But if for some reason you can't find it, make sure and email us or email Brittany at events@modernprairie.com, and she'll be able to get it to you for sure. Yay, yes, Merriam-Webster is a great. Oh, someone said they love the word flourish. That was their word last year. That's a really
I like that word too. That's really pretty.
I know. I like it too. It just sounds like flourish. It just
And
sounds
there's so much you could do with that. Yeah.
very much so. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything else about that other than the worksheet. So here I'm asking, there, Deirdre, you're awesome. She just posted it to everyone.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Deirdre.
Thanks, Deirdre.
So if anybody has any questions right now, feel free to raise your hand or let us know that you have a question about the word of the year, about the process. And I want you to know, again, I was saying in the beginning that I don't want you to just rush through this tonight and get this done. That wasn't the purpose of this workshop. This workshop was more about telling you why it's important, telling you the method on how you can really dig deep. And I want you all to take time with this. I would love nothing more than for you to take some time whenever you can, either at, in the next couple weeks or at the beginning of the year, to just sit down, maybe light some candles, just make this time for yourself that's quiet, and just think about it. Just, if you like to meditate, that could be a really good thing, and just see if a word comes to you as you're sort of thinking and meditating on it. Take a walk, anything you can do that sort of stirs that up for you. But it's good to have that quiet space where you can really just kind of get to your inner self, which I call your elemental self, and hear what it's saying to you about this. And it's not something to be rushed. You can change your word of the year. Like I said, there are no rules. I did that. I thought I had my word. And then 2 months later, I read something and I read a word and I was like, oh, that's it. That's it. That's my word. And again, no rules. You can change your word. This isn't something, and you might feel like some people who don't like to commit, they might be like, oh my gosh, I can't think of a word I want for the whole year. That's okay. Just think of one for the first 6 months or even the first month. It's fine. You can always change. You can always grow. You can, yeah, like I said, decide something's not working for you and do something else. The other thing I love to tell people, it doesn't even have to just be a word. It can be a phrase. Maybe you've always loved carpe diem. That's just a phrase that really gets you going and makes you feel like you really want to get things done. Then use a phrase. It could be a phrase that you make up. It can be a quote. It can be anything that just really touches you and makes you want to move forward in a way that feels like it aligns with who you truly are. So remember, there's just no rules. It's only guidelines. You can't make a mistake. You can't fail with any of this. And like I said, I'll be talking more toward the end here about how we're going to kind of continue this work, which is going to be really fun. But I want to, if no one else has any other questions right now. Oh, she says my word was yes, and I wanted to see what came out of it. Oh, that's fascinating.
Ooh, good
I
one.
know.
So real quick,
Yeah.
last year, kind of what we did with Christine Semple is that we created a vision board, and it really helps develop in a lot of ways what your word, what
Yes.
talks to you. And so just looking at pictures, looking at quotations, looking at different things that kind of you go from one word and then you start transitioning and narrowing down to what you were really feeling.
Yeah, I
So that's
love
the idea.
that. That is definitely something that I was going to be touching on in the future. And things like, even what's really fun is to go to Pinterest and type in your word and see what comes up. You know, what the visuals that come up for your word can be really cool and really stimulating and really make you think of things. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things that you can do to explore that, but I love the vision board thing for sure.
Great idea.
I'm not sure if Christine is going to be doing that again this year, but I will probably be working on some of that stuff in my.
I think she is. I think she is. Yeah.
Cool. That's great.
Mhm. Right. And is it my turn?
It's your turn, Sandy. Take it
Okay.
away.
All right. Well, words, they're my life. I'm a writer. I love words. I loved reading to my kids. I love everything about words, and I love playing around with them too. And so one of the fun facts that I learned about words, about thoughts actually, is that in a day, we have nearly 60,000 thoughts in a day. I looked this up and figure that is 2,500 thoughts per hour. And that is like unfathomable, you know? But a lot of these thoughts fall into categories like of habits, like, oh, brushing, I'm going to brush my teeth. Well, that thought comes in, you do it, and it's automatic. And it's like making coffee, you know, every morning I make coffee, but I make it with intention because I learned that from Oprah Winfrey. She said, make a ritual out of making your coffee, and it is so much more pleasant. So there is a way to make your word of the year a habit. And we're going to talk about that. So your thoughts, you can have lots of spontaneous creative thoughts. And what happens if you don't pay attention? They go away. And it's very rare that I will have like this amazing thought that if I don't write it down, it's going to be there in an hour. And it's so frustrating. So Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, she said one of the things about thoughts is they're around there for you to seize onto and claim as your own. And if you move forward with that, claiming that thought, then it's yours and you get to do with it what you want. But if you let it go by, somebody else claims it as theirs. So think of your word of the year as something floating around there for you, waiting to be claimed by you, ready for you to implement all that it means to you. So one of the things that I like to do, and I've been doing this for a long time, is that I have implemented a process that you can call many different things. What I do is I call it my idea garden. I don't always call it journaling. Some people call it notebooking. Well, I call it an idea garden because it's a way of capturing those thoughts and putting them somewhere. And so it's like a container of your thoughts. And you at any time can look at this wonderful container of thoughts and say, wow, did I really think that? Was that really my thought? And some of them you want to say, okay, I'm done with that thought. I'm dismissing it. It no longer has power over me. And some thoughts come in and you say, I really need to act on that thought. And so the first time that I ever experienced the power of words and thoughts was, I hope Mary Kay, I saw that you're on here. This one's for you because this is my Beatles story. So the first time that I ever realized that thoughts have power is that I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I was so in love with the Beatles. It was like all that I wanted in the world was to lie on my bed, write in my diary, and listen to the Beatles. And one day while I was coming home from school, my mom had picked us up from school, and the AM radio was on and we were listening to the local radio station. I grew up in Monterey, California, so it was KNRY. And they said, we are giving away Beatles tickets to the Cow Palace concert coming up. And I said to my mom, I have to go see the Beatles. I will die if I don't see them. And she said, nope, you're not going. It's too expensive. I'd have to drive you up to San Francisco. It's not going to happen. And you don't have the money. And I said, what if I earn the money? And she said, you're not going to be able to earn the money for those tickets. So no, it's just not going to work. Well, I went home and I decided I'd write in my diary how I was going to make this happen. So I decided to start babysitting. And I babysat the family in back of us, and they had 6 kids, and I got 50 cents an hour, honestly. 50 cents an hour for 6 kids, but I was willing to do it for Paul McCartney. And so I babysat and I got $1.50 for the 3 hours, and I went and bought postcards and stamps. And I think I only could get, with my $1.50, maybe it was only $1, I was only able to get 3 postcards. So I wrote my name, I sent it into KNRY, and I thought, please, please make this happen. And I wrote in my diary how it would feel if I was in that concert watching Paul. I even imagined what I was going to wear, and I wrote it down in my diary. And about 2 weeks later, we were driving home from school. The radio was on, and they announced the winner, and it was me.
Wow.
I won the tickets. So I took my sister and I wore everything that I said I would. I had a houndstooth jumper, a little gray purse. Now, here's the other thing. I was only 13. I didn't even know anything about anything. I took a toothbrush and toothpaste just in case I got close to Paul. I wanted to have fresh breath. Honest, that's the story. Honest, you ask my sister. So anyway, when I realized that my dream had come true, when I was in the middle of screaming, all I did was scream the whole time. And then miraculously, we got to go back and we got to see them come out of their dressing room and get into there were only about 10 of us that could do that, and into the limousine and we saw them. We were up close and it was a miracle. Well, that miracle happened. I am 100% convinced because of my imagination and my ability to put my dreams into words. And so that's why I am such a believer in words having power. And when you do that, when you have an opportunity to sit down, to use your word and imagine all of the possibilities and write it out, what it does is it supercharges them. You're putting them out to the universe saying, okay, let's act on this. Well, what was my first action after I wrote that I wanted to see the Beatles? It was to get a job. I had to find babysitting money so that I could buy those postcards. And sure enough, it happened. And by the time that I won, I knew exactly what I was going to wear. I knew exactly what we were going to do. And yes, my mother was willing to take me because it was so miraculous that we won. So I continued to write in my journal for years. And I was thinking in 2010, I was at that point, my kids had all moved out. They were just in the process of moving out. My last two left. And my husband had passed away. We had had a very complicated, sad relationship because of the loss of our son. And he died in 2006. In 2007, I thought, I really liked being married. We were married for 27 years, and it was a beautiful marriage that I am so grateful for to this day. The sad part about when you lose a child is that sometimes a marriage does get affected, and sometimes it makes marriages stronger. And sadly, mine was one of them that couldn't withstand the depths of our despair. And so we did divorce, but we remained very close, and we had hoped that at some point we would get back together. And then sadly, he did pass away. And I was the sole support of my children. Well, in 2010, I had created a career for myself and I was doing well. And now my kids were moving out to college. And I realized, my God, I haven't been alone ever. I went from growing up and going to college, moving in with roommates, meeting my husband, getting married, having kids. Suddenly I was completely alone in my house. And I thought, this is really great. So I was writing in my diary and I would have this wonderful time with dreaming of what I would like. And months went by and all of a sudden I thought, I think I'm ready for another relationship. I decided that if the Beatles worked I can't remember when it was, in the 60s, then in 2010, if I write about a romance, maybe this could work too. So I started writing in my journal. I didn't call it a diary anymore. I started writing in my journal idea garden about having a true love. And I started imagining, just like I did with the Beatles, I imagined, I would be walking along the beach and holding someone's hand, and I would never picture it to the point of an actual face because I wanted that to be unexpected. Whatever the universe has for me, and you can call whatever you want, God, the universe, muse. I am so grateful for all of those words in my life. And I began to hear music that I would have playing. I began to feel his presence. I cleared out my closets so that there was one for him. And then I made room in the garage for another car. And I kept writing about all of these things. And I was making space for something to happen. And as silly as this sounds, and I continued to write and I continued to focus on my words, I discovered that my idea garden knew something that I didn't, that it was putting thoughts in motion, and there was proof right around the bend. And within months, I met the most wonderful, incredible man and married him a year later. And, you know, it's absolutely true that, again, your thoughts have power and superpower, and your goals and dreams have much more power when you write them down. And Susie, you were talking about, and Amber, we're talking about the vision board. That has power too. I say go for all three, you know, choose the word, have the idea garden, do the vision board. I did the vision board too. In fact, I put like pictures of me in France, and that happened in 2015. It came true. I put a picture of me in of a dress that I wanted that was very sleek, and at that point I had some extra weight that I wasn't too happy about. And sure enough, it like magically, I kept envisioning myself and I would write about it. And yes, those dreams all came true because thoughts turn a simple idea into energy, and energy has power, and thoughts become things. And so here's the thing that I want to remind you about with, oh, it's so hard to find time to journal, or, oh, I don't really like to sit down and write. There are things you can do to create a habit. And I want to, Cynthia's on here today. And I wanted to read what she wrote on the app when I was talking about coming on here today, and about, if you haven't read the post, it was about my dreams of going to France and how I envisioned them. And Cynthia said, I have always journaled. My last doctor, in fact, prescribed journaling mornings for my mental health. He said, go to your coffee shop once a week, get your favorite drink, and dump everything into your journal. When things really hit the fan this year, though, it was really, really hard to put pen to paper. I discovered it's easier to work through the trauma after you get some distance. And that's when I started writing again. Before that, it was nothing but rage on the page. And Cynthia, this is like a perfect story for saying that you have cycles of life where you're doing things, and maybe vision boards don't always work, but then, you know, your idea garden will work, or maybe your idea garden you want to put aside for a while, but then you come back to it and you look at the pages and you say, how far have I come on this planet doing what I'm doing? And so you capture those special moments in your life that you'll be able to read about later and said, I can't believe that I had the power to do that. I can't believe it. So when those ideas float by you, consider this, that idea doesn't want to back down. That idea wants you to claim it as your own and get started, because it's ready to deliver. And I'm promising you that dreams come true. And choose your word of the year and write it in every context that you can think about or that you can imagine, because it has so much power. Now, I'm going to reveal my word of the year because it was so clear to me this year. And it happened in this past month because I had several conversations with people, and I emphasized the word a lot as I was telling you all these stories. So some of you may figure it out. I had several conversations where I had to make some choices, and that I had opportunities. And it was like, oh, nothing's one way or the other. And so I realized that I kept using the word and it can happen this way. And I'm approaching the anniversary of my son's loss at Christmas time, and my grandchild is coming to visit, and his name is Garrett, named after my beautiful son who passed. And I get to enjoy Christmas. So you see, and for me is full of options. And I love that word. And the reason that I knew it was for me is because I was helping a woman write her book. She's in the process of writing a chapter in a book. I was working with her. I kept looking at her necklace. Oops, did you just press that? Somehow oops, am I frozen?
I can see you, Sandy, but I don't
Okay,
know.
somehow
Lori, it says we're
somebody's
real-
screen came up. Is it?
yeah, Lori, it says
I'm
we're
sorry, I was
viewing-
trying to put that in the chat, not interrupt.
Okay,
the presentation.
that's
Sorry.
okay.
It's
The
all right.
wrong time is on the email, so I got on like now, thinking it was now.
That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I can stop
we-
your sharing, Lori.
Yeah, stop,
Okay, thank you.
stop sharing. But
I think I can do that. Hold on.
there
There.
we go. Okay.
I got it.
Thank you, Lori, also for
No
that.
worries, Lori.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Lori, also for that beautiful cartoon that you did that on our last Heart to Heart that I posted, because it talked about sunshine and be that sunshine friend, be that sunshine in someone's life. And that was just a beautiful metaphor for what I was talking about on our Heart to Heart. So the last thing that I want to say is that I was telling the story how I was helping this woman with her book. I kept seeing a necklace, but I could only see part of it. And all I could see in her word necklace was A-N-D. It was the middle of a word, I think.
Oh, no.
And it hit me like a lightning bolt. That is my word of the year. So here's the Modern Prairie Journal that Nicole just sent me. I'm so excited about it. And my favorite word now, I started already with my idea garden here. And then I posted in it, and in case you don't know, I do like calligraphy. So I made it a calligraphy, and it says, and my word of the year 2024. The reason that I love this book so much, it's the perfect size for my purse, because a lot of times I am stuck places like doctor's offices, or, it's places where I don't want to just be on my phone all the time. So I have been tucking this book to test it out to see if it's great inside my purse. It fits perfectly. And there's another journal, then this one also is from Modern Prairie. It's cloth, and it's a little bit bigger, but if you want to get the journals, because also Melissa has a beautiful little note to us inside of each journal, and it tells all the things that you can do with the journal. This one is just so precious to me, and I hope that you will choose your word of the year. Choose a special journal just for yourself as your Christmas present to yourself, and let your word grow beyond your wildest dreams. I hope. I love you.
Sandy, I love that so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So to reiterate, you're telling us to make sure as we're thinking about our word and things that we want to do, to always have this journal or whatever we have with us, so we can just write those things down as soon as they come into our minds.
Right. As a matter of fact, my first book that I wrote was a children's book in 1991, which is how I met Melissa. And I was writing it on the back of receipts in the carpool line, picking up my kids. And I thought, I got to have a better way to do this. If I'm going to be an author, I need to get serious. So I bought little notebooks for my car. And then I was able to start writing my book. And, you take these opportunities wherever you can find them. But also, if you wrap a ritual around doing something, it becomes easier. So my ritual for writing is that every afternoon at 3:00, I have my afternoon cappuccino. And it's been a ritual for decades. And I love making the coffee. I have a special machine. I love foaming the milk. I love it all. I sit down at my desk. I have a little coffee warmer here so it never gets cold. I light a candle, Everything smells good. My desk is cleared. I always try to clear off my desk so I have a space that looks clear. And then writing is so easy because it's pleasurable. And there's no reason for it not to be pleasurable. Even if you just write, I saw some beautiful wildflowers on my walk today. That's all. It puts words in motion for more beauty. It really is an opportunity to let your mind start opening up. It doesn't always happen right away. It grows. I promise you, wrap a ritual around it and it will be a beautiful experience for you.
And what I love about that too is, especially if you're someone who just feels like you got to get into everything 110% and you're a perfectionist and you hear a journal, so you think, well, I got to sit down and write, today I did this, and then this is what happened, and this is how I felt. Well, that can be really intimidating. And sometimes, like you said, we don't have time for that. We can't wake
No.
up and write pages and pages in our journal. So I love the freedom of the idea garden, where your journaling can be as simple as 2 sentences that day.
Sentences. That's what Oprah does. Oprah does a gratitude journal and she writes, I'm so grateful for the trees in my yard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or a quote that you see that you love and you're like, I'll never remember this
Yes.
quote. Put that
Yeah.
in your journal. And all of this, this could be your word journal, or it could just be the journal that you use for everything. But I think it is good to have the word be a part of it too, because you're going to be able to expand on that and see how you are getting this into your everyday thoughts and into your everyday life.
Yes, that's why I put my word in the very beginning, because this is going to be all about and what are my opportunities in my life? How can I make and work for me? Because there's always a different way you can look at something. Remove the word but and replace it with and it becomes magical.
I was just going to say that. That's
Mhm.
often what I tell people. No buts. We're not showing our butts here, people.
No buts.
No buts. It's and. It's amazing.
It's amazing
What
how it
stops
changes.
you in your tracks?
Right.
I wanted to do this today, but
But
blah, blah, blah. I wanted to do this today and this came up. Okay,
Mhm.
it came up, but that
Yes.
doesn't mean it's going to stop everything. A but means
Right.
it's stopping everything.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I love that. And also the other thing I talk a lot about is choosing to versus having to. Most of the things we do in life, we choose to do instead of we have to do, because we don't want the
Yeah.
consequences of not doing it. And that's a whole other conversation. But
Right.
yeah, I love that. I love that. And I have to give you a shout out too about your whole intention story. I mean, that's so incredible about the Beatles and all of that. I just love that so much. But I will tell you, I did the same thing with the house I'm living at right
Oh,
now.
wow.
It's a long story that I don't want to take up a lot of time. Someday I'll tell it somewhere, I'm sure. But basically, we were not in the right time and place to buy a home. We weren't even really looking to buy a home. We had just purchased a condo. And then all of a sudden we found this house, and it was one of those things that we saw the house, all these crazy things were happening and falling into place. And I started it in motion. I printed a picture of the house, and I even added, this is like where I love, like, I think crystals and things are so beautiful and I love their energies. And I don't necessarily think that they do things for you, but I think that if you love them and they're beautiful and you make them mean something, that they can help you with that. So I would take this citrine crystal, which is supposed to be for manifesting, and I would put it on this picture, and I would visualize myself in this house every day, getting up in the morning, having coffee, doing all my normal things, but in this house, even though I'd never been in the house, but we did walk through it. So I was doing all this after that. And then I would walk, it happened to be close enough to my house, and I would walk to it every day from the condo I was living into the house, and just stand outside and visualize myself in the house. And I did this every day. And then 2 weeks later, a friend of mine out of the blue said, how much would you sell your condo to me without, what do you call it? Inspection and whatever. I mean, it was just so crazy, you guys, you would not even believe it. And so I truly believe those things are true. When you have intention and you are working for it, you can't just wish something, you have to put the work into it.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like writing things down, visualizing them, saying the thoughts out loud, and putting pen to paper. And pen to paper is really important too, don't you think,
Mhm.
Sandy, versus
Oh, I
typing on
do.
the computer?
Actually, yeah, and I've shared this on Heart to Heart, that they did a study with, at the University of Texas with, Dr. James Pennebaker. And he had people who were going through tough times journal and write down things for, just a couple minutes a day. And over a 6-month period, he saw such an impressive amount of growth in the people who actually took the time to do that versus the people that didn't. And he said something to the effect of that your mind-body connection. So you have your mind and you physically can feel your arm writing and scratching on the paper. Now, yeah, people can type really fast, but I tell you, if you slow down your thoughts by writing by hand, I'm such a big believer in physically writing by hand. In fact, one woman I know wrote her whole book that I was working with her on by hand. And
Wow.
Melissa does that. She writes them by hand too.
That
And
is amazing.
yeah,
That is so
yeah.
much work. Wow.
But
Impressive.
it is, it's thoughtful and it's intentional to write. And I personally love pens and pencils and,
Me
I'm
too.
an office supply person. And so I
Yep.
love doing that stuff.
I love that. I love that. Gosh,
Yeah.
Sandy, I feel like you and I could talk about this stuff all
I
night
think so.
long.
But and I'm seeing so many people on here that I wish I could just talk to individually because I'm telling you, they have stories that I've been seeing
Oh,
on Modern Prairie app and also from people who have been Heart to Heart. And
yes.
actually Cindy, who was on here, I'm not sure if she still is, Cindy Bauman, she wrote a book and she said that the reason that she could write it is she had her her journal as a resource for
Mm,
experience that she went through when she went through loss. And
mm,
she wrote a beautiful book about it and so meaningful. And it was, the journaling part was so grounding for her. So
so cool. Yeah, it is
anyway,
very
well,
powerful.
we have
Really
some
powerful.
surprises, don't we? We have 2 surprises, don't we? Hey, Amber, are you on
Okay.
the, you're in charge of the 2 surprises that we have.
Oh, boy. Um,
Where
I'll
are
do
you?
the,
I don't see you. Where are you?
I'm here.
She's
Okay.
there.
Shouldn't have my
Well,
camera on. I'm sick, but
it's
I
Oh,
have it
okay.
on.
Well, I can go ahead so you don't have to talk too much, Amber. As you probably know from signing up for this class today, anybody who signed up and actually showed up tonight, you are going to be in the drawing to win one of 2. So 2 of you will win one of these beautiful journals. I don't know. I think it comes in blue, pink, and like a natural color. And I
like
don't
white, yeah.
yeah, I don't know how that's going to work, but it's going to be
Mhm.
one of those beautiful colors. And I tell you, you can't go wrong. I mean, these are made by April Cornell. They've got this absolutely beautiful, like velvety, ribbon that you wrap around. And I mean, they're even a little bit sparkly, which I love. It's like just the right
Yeah,
amount of just these they're
little
made so
sequins.
I know.
Yeah.
They just feel magical. I still haven't written in mine yet. Sandy and I were laughing about it because we're like, we get these journals and they're like, they're so
Oh.
beautiful. We don't writing them, but
That's why I wrote it today because I thought if anything needs to be in here, it's to document that we have this wonderful event and my word.
I love that. So basically, we are giving away 2 of these to the people that are here. Normally, Brittany does this. And those of you that got on late, both Nicole wanted to be here, but she was sick. And so we told her, go, don't worry about this. And then Brittany is literally in the middle of a tornado warning. So she was able to show up here at the beginning and we saw just her little face in the darkness because she has no power. So she had to use her phone really quick. So normally she does this fun thing where she has this circle and she adds the names in and randomly it comes out and we pick the names. But we told Amber to randomly pick a couple names from Amber is graciously just helping us out with all of this tonight. And we said, yeah, just close your eyes and pick a couple names that will win one of the journals. So do you have those names, Amber?
I do. So, so the first one is Vanessa Emmanuel.
Yay! Yay, Vanessa!
And the next one is Donna Gooding.
Yay, Donna!
Yay, Donna! Oh, it's so exciting.
Yay!
Okay, Vanessa and Donna, what we would like you to do is email Brittany at events@modernprairie.com and give her your email address. And then you can go back and forth and you can get her your address and everything so we can get that sent out to you.
Yes.
So yay, I'm so excited that a couple people are also going to get these. And these are available on the Modern Prairie website. You can order them now along with the other journals that I have a blue one like that you were showing. They're just so beautiful. I love the journals. So I wanted to make sure and give people time. Again, if they have any questions about what Sandy was talking about with the journaling, if you have any questions about the word, I'm seeing some fun things on here. If anybody wants to pop on and share their word, I thought I saw someone say she had a word. Oh, I love this. Susan O'Rourke. I've changed my word based on some of the suggestions tonight. I came here thinking I would use the word renewed, but have decided on refreshed instead. I like the idea of
Oh, I
fresh.
like
here.
that.
That is a great example of how renewed is great, but when she hit on fresh, like part of that word just really sounds like it really jumped out to her. And so this is what I mean about reworking these, and it can take time, and it should take time. Let's see, my friend calls this a circle of golden intention. Oh, I love that. So does anybody want to share their word? I wish I could remember. Was it you, Amber? Someone said they failed on their word last year.
Oh,
I did.
it was Amber.
I did. I did.
There is no failing. Tell us what you mean by that, because I want to make sure that other people know they're not failing.
I chose equanimity.
Oh,
and it means
wow.
just maintaining peace during storms. And as a lot of you know, I wasn't quiet about sharing that I lost a job and my life went into turmoil, and I didn't maintain my equanimity through it. So I felt like I might have failed on that one. So I need to find a different word.
Well, again, I don't want you to think that you failed, because again, it comes back to the New Year's resolution type thing, right? Like, you had no idea when you chose that word that you were going to lose your job. And sometimes when you go through something like that, you're just in survival mode. Forget about anything else. Just survival could be your word for the next few months or whatever until you get through that. And that's okay. And that's the whole thing about this word stuff. And like I said, I just saw a new word and changed my mind. And, as was it Susan said that earlier, is that she thought she had it and then she changed her mind. And I think I'm glad you brought that up, Amber, because I hope people realize that if they're starting to feel guilty about not living up to their word, that's a clear sign that it wasn't the right word for them at that time, and they can change it. And maybe at that time you're like, I just can't even think about that right now. Right now, all I want is rest, or all I want is, I don't know. It could be the total opposite. I need to be energized in some way right now. And so if that happens where any of you, I just don't want it to become that feeling of failure. I want you to be more like, okay, right now this word isn't working for me because of changes in my life or things that I've realized about myself. So what's a better word? And so you have the choice, this is your and. You have the choice to say, okay, that's a great word. And that is an overall goal of mine at some point. But right now, this has got to be my word. You know, it's just taking those baby steps so you can get to equanimity. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
Yeah. I hope that makes you
Or tell the word to hit the road.
exactly. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. These are guidelines. There's no rules and there's no
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk a little bit about what Nicole had mentioned about the pause?
Yes, and I also want to talk about, but before I do that, I want to talk about what you and I have coming up next year too. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I had continued the conversation, which was kind of Melissa and I did our nitty gritty podcast for a while. And then it was one of those things where we wanted to kind of bring everything down to the app. So continue the conversation was kind of my way of bringing up topics and things to talk about and make us all go, and continue that conversation. So it was kind of a fun thing. I would just kind of jump on at some point over the weekend. And I had my faithful followers that would always pop on. It was so much fun. And, but as I was working out through this workshop and thinking more about it, I talked with Brittany and Nicole, and we love what Sandy does. She has her regular day, which I'll have her evening, which I'll have her talk about. And that's something that I want to start doing as well. So starting January 11th, continue the conversation is going to become a live Zoom or whatever it is that it ends up being, whatever platform. But instead of me just talking at you and reading your comments, we're going to be able to all be on together like we are now. And I'm so excited about that because we're going to start by kind of talking about the word again, check in where everybody's at with the word and if they need some help. And again, that's one of my favorite things about this. Yeah, it was fun getting on and like talking to myself basically. But I think what's so special about this community is how we all love supporting each other. And I've always been one of those people that feels like I get energized by working with someone else. In fact, one-on-one coaching for me was a lonely job because yes, I was working with other people, but I wasn't brainstorming and, coming up with things with someone else. It was all on me to work with the client. And I really love that brainstorming. I love all of that. It's so magical. I just feel like, and so I feel like with all of us helping each other with that brainstorming, we're going to do all sorts of things. We're going to talk about how to get correct mindset throughout the year. We're going to talk about like having actual tools and steps to move forward with things that we want to do. We're going to talk about your fellowship, Lord of the Rings. This is going to be called Your Unexpected Journey of 2024. And we're going to talk about, who's in your fellowship? Do you have the people that are there for you and supporting you as you're trying to, find your new passion or go through this transformation? So I hope that you all will join me over there. Like I said, this will start January 11th. I'll be doing that every other Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time. So the same time that this started tonight. And again, we're just going to go on this journey together. Anybody who joins gets their Prairie passport. And we're just going to figure out what lights us all up and support each other with that and talk about that every other week. So I'm really, really excited to do that. And it's just going to be another great thing throughout the week to add on to what Sandy is already doing. So go ahead and take that away, Sandy.
Well, I am so blessed that I get to do this twice a month. We do it's the second and the fourth Tuesday, and we've been doing it since September. We are taking a break in Christmas because Nicole thought it'd be nice if we could all not have to worry too much about stuff, but then you and I wanted to do this, and I'm so glad we did. So we do heart to heart, and Amber is a part of that. Thank you, Amber. We do that every second and fourth Tuesday, and we talk about those hard conversations and those beautiful conversations that come as a result of women like us who have lived a lot of life, a lot of experiences, much of it is stuff that I love to talk about. And I know that I love the response that we've been getting because I've been writing blogs forever. So I have a lot of articles online. And I always feel like I want to just plant the seed of an idea and have all of you take it and run with it, that you start to grow your idea garden, just as my journal is called, into possibilities. And we've had some wonderful interactions, some incredible feedback on Heart to Heart Tuesdays. And I hope that you'll all continue with me because it's the best feeling in the world when I get to do this with all of you and with Amber. And then last on December, when was that we did that thing with Hope for the Holidays? Oh, it was just before Thanksgiving, November 19th, I think. We did Hope for the Holidays. Melissa and I did that one. And if any of you didn't see it, Nicole did put the recording up for people to watch. I think it will still be helpful. And plus there are a lot of fun stories that you'll hear from Melissa. She's a great storyteller anyway. And and we've offered some tips and tools getting through the holidays and things that you can think about. And I'm so happy to see that so many of our beautiful prairians have taken those ideas and gone beyond what I expected. So thank you for just participating and being here, and we love you so much. It's just such a gift to be able to do this. It is the highlight of my day, I'll tell you.
It really
So,
is. It's
yeah.
just an honor to hold space with all of you. And again, to see how you all support each other and all of this is just beautiful.
So
I mean,
such
it's
a blessing.
I know. So I'm so excited. Like, won't these be fun? Like every week, everyone
Yes.
have little places they can visit. And we were
And
kind
be
of
sure to check the events tab because that's where they're all going to be listed. You can sign up, and always, if you want to sign up and you can't attend, don't worry, sign up anyway, and the recording will come to you.
But the things that we're doing are on the app, and those are not events, right? Those won't be recorded. Well, they are recorded.
They are recorded.
Yeah. So you can always watch that too. So there's events, and then there's also the things that happen on the app.
Right.
So,
and the recordings will also come in an email, the replay.
Yes, which is really cool. Yep. And then the other thing that Sandy brought up that we wanted to make sure and talk about is Nicole had this fabulous idea. She was just like, I can't take a break over Christmas. I'm so busy. And all of a sudden she thought to herself, yes, I can. This is really an important thing. And for a long time, Modern Prairie has been talking about how they want to kind of slow everything down. You'll notice that our event is the last one of this month because we all truly believe and support you all in taking a pause, a prairie pause, time for yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever you can do. So starting December 25th, Melissa is actually going to kick this off. I think she's going to do a little video or something. I'm sure it's going to be great. And, Modern Prairie is actually going to be taking a pause. There's not going to be a lot of new things happening or whatever, because we're giving that gift to ourselves. Everybody's just kind of taking a break. And, but what we're going to be doing is giving you ideas. We want you to be taking these pauses right along with us. And so you're going to be, I'm not sure how it's going to roll out yet. They're still figuring that out. But like I said, Melissa will kick that off on December 25th. So just keep an eye on the socials and all of that to see how that's all going to happen and where that's going to be. Because I think, again, it's just so important that we always take that time, especially at the times when it's hardest to take a break. That's when you really need that break. That's when you really.
But also, you can still use the app. We're still going to be active on the app, like responding to people and posting pictures and, doing all that. It's just the events that we're pausing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I think we went over everything, Sandy, don't you?
We did,
went over
and now
time. Hour and a half.
What we should do is everybody should unmute and say goodbye, Merry Christmas.
I would love that.
With love. All right.
With
everybody unmute
love.
and say bye. I'm so
Bye,
everyone. right, much
Christmas
love,
week.
everybody.
Merry Christmas. Bye. Blessings.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you, everybody.
Thank
you.
Merry
Bye.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
You can push the end
Thank
button.
you.
Bye.